Two friends who think they are metalheads enter a band contest, but their friendship is in trouble when they get involved with a girl who seems to have metal in her veins more than the two of them put together. Today on Cinema Recapped, I'll show you Metal Lords. Spoilers ahead, watch out and take care. The movie begins with a couple of guys called Hunter, played by actor Adrian Greensmith, and Kevin, played by actor Jaden Lieberer, who are practicing their music in the style of metal rock, rehearsing in the room of one of them. Hunter plays his guitar very excitedly, but when Kevin starts playing the drums, the other boy stops him, telling him that he's somewhat out of tune. Kevin admits that he only knows how to play the drums at school. Hunter comments that they need a bass player, as one would be a great help to the band. The next day at school, Kevin is playing his drum when the teacher stops him and tells a girl named Emily that she needs to improve in certain aspects. Because of this, the girl explodes and insults the teacher. She also throws the flute aside and leaves the place, where Kevin watches her and thinks that because of the way she spoke to the teacher, she has metal in her veins. Later, Kevin explains that they want to be the best in metal, since that way they would be very popular in school and people would praise them as gods. He also explains that Hunter has been his best friend for a long time, since he always protects him. Later, one of the jock boys at school is about to knock Kevin down. Hunter tries to warn him, but he doesn't understand what he's saying and ends up on the ground. His friend picks him up, while they hear that the popular kids are planning a party. That night, the two friends infiltrate the party, where Kevin drinks a lot. He tells Hunter that he's going to the bathroom, but he runs into a beautiful girl, and he starts talking to her, since he's drunk, and therefore not shy. At the same time, we see some guys picking on Hunter. They hit him a couple of times, and some instruments get broken. Then Hunter gets annoyed and tells the guys who played at the party that they don't know anything about music. He also says that he has a real band, so they invite him to sign up for the band competition, which will be soon. The next day, Hunter signs his band up for the contest. They go and buy a new drum set using a card he took from his father. Later, when Kevin was about to practice, he hears that Emily plays very well. Hunter annoys one of the popular kids because of what they did to him the other day. Then they quickly flee in the car and go through an alley so the others do not reach them since they're driving a big truck. Hunter gives Kevin a list of popular songs to practice, and he makes a copy of it and secretly sends it to Emily. She investigates and begins to get more into that style of music. Days go by, and after making a lot of effort, Kevin is becoming very good at the drums, while Emily watches him over and over again until one day she decides to talk and practice with him. Together they make very good metal music. At school, the boys who bullied earlier gag Hunter and cut off a lock of his hair. Later, we see that he had to shave one side to match his hair, but he likes it like that, since he looks like a bassist who was in the band of Metallica, named Jason Newsted. The boys audition to find a bass player, but only one shows, who is very crazy and doesn't even know how to play the instrument. Kevin insists that Emily should join them since she's very good, although Hunter is stubborn that she's not a good image for the gang, and rejects her. Emily receives a call from Kevin. They both confess that they've never done it, and that they don't want to continue like this, so the girl tells them to meet her at a place to do it. When they arrive at the agreed-upon place, they shyly get into the girl's truck and do their thing. Because of this, Kevin is late for rehearsal with Hunter, so the friend scolds him and calls him a loser, while Kevin decides to leave before he says more insulting things. Later, Kevin is playing his drums while another boy listens to him and tells him that he's very good, and invites him to join them in a different band, even if it's only for the weekend, since they're playing at a party. Kevin says that he'll think about it. Kevin and Emily get along very well as they begin to fall in love. The next day, Hunter makes an extreme explanation of metal, but focuses on women repressing rock in men, all indirectly pointing to Emily so that she leaves his friend alone, and therefore he can concentrate on the band. However, the girl explodes like she did with the professor before. She chases after him to beat him up. Shortly after, Hunter is in detention and also somewhat beaten since the girl gave him what he deserved. Then the two friends have a fight, and Kevin says that Hunter needs him more than he needs Hunter, and that if they separate, he could have a normal life with Emily. In the afternoon, Kevin reassures Emily, telling her that nothing has happened that was her fault, since Hunter is insane and does not know how to deal with people. He ends up hugging the girl to calm her down. Meanwhile, Hunter dresses and paints his face like a rock star, while the father tries to stop him, since he considers it ridiculous. But the boy ignores him and leaves the house. At the same time, Kevin is with the band that invited him to the party, where he plays very well and catches the attention of some girls. Hunter tries to go to this party as well, but he's easily stopped by a guard. Meanwhile, the leader of the other band congratulates Kevin since he was spectacular. He invites him to join them to participate in the band contest, and Kevin says that he'll think about it. At the same time, Hunter was arrested and his father went to get him out, but the police consider his belongings to be weapons and confiscate them. The father says that he knows that he stole money from him to buy the drums, so he will enroll him in a hospital, in which he will have to be locked up. The boy tells his father that he won't be able to since the band contest is coming soon, but the father tells him that he has no choice. Meanwhile, Kevin is with a very beautiful girl who admires him because he plays very well, so she starts kissing him. At that moment, the boy imagines some rock stars give him good advice, but also others who give them bad advice. In the end, Kevin decides to pay attention to the one who tells him to respect Emily, so he leaves the party. The next day, Hunter is at the help center where he meets Dr. Nix, whom the boy quickly recognizes because he used to play in a very popular band. Nix tells him that he's no longer in the group because he ruined it by not knowing how to live with his companions. The man asks him if he drinks or smokes, but Hunter says no to both, so the doctor considers him healthy and lets him go, at least until next week. Hunter knows he won't make it to the Battle of the Bands, and he worries about it. At the same time, Kevin agrees to play with the other gang, although he calls his friend first, but he doesn't answer. Then he calls his home, and his father tells him everything. Later, Kevin goes to Emily asking for help to get Hunter out of that place, but she doesn't want to, so she starts to get upset, and the boy tells her that it's okay, that he'll take care of it. Kevin arrives at the help center, infiltrates the facility, and finds his friend, who wants to apologize, but the boy tells him to do that later, since he turns on the fire alarm to escape. And they also take another young man with them who was once in a band. Hunter apologizes to Emily for everything and asks her to please join them in the Battle of the Bands, but she refuses, saying that she's not ready yet. Later, they arrive at the event where the other guys are, and Kevin apologizes to them and tells them that he can't be in two groups at the same time, but he also says that he brought his replacement, who's a very good drummer. Hunter also apologizes to the other young man since he's been very mean to him before. Shortly after, the boys are preparing to enter the stage, but they're worried since they're missing a bass player and their songs will sound a little weird. However, at that moment they see Emily arrive. She's dressed for the occasion and is ready to accompany them in battle, although the person in charge of the event tells them that the name of their group had bad words, but the girl changes it at the last minute, so they end up being called Skullflowers. They go on stage where they see that nobody knows them and the audience is very quiet. But they don't care and start playing, and everyone starts listening to their songs, which are very good. Because of it, everyone grows excited and starts dancing to Skullflowers, but Hunter has a little accident. He falls and one of the heavy speakers crushes him, breaking his leg. The days go by and we see the band rehearsing. Hunter still has his leg in a cast, and his father enters to congratulate them since they won second place in the Battle of the Bands. Later they find out that they went viral in the newspapers, and we see them being very happy with what they've achieved together. We also notice that the three have made along very well. The end. If you liked the video, please leave a like and subscribe to continue receiving recaps of the best comedy movies. Thanks for watching.